All right, now we're looking at the top 10 songs of 2017. So, like I said before, these are all songs that do not appear in any of the albums that I picked for my 2017 albums list, that are either like singles or songs from other albums or whatever. And they're things that went out of my way to listen to individually that I wanted, um, just that to be the complete package. So judged for their merits on their own, not their merits in place of an album. Anyways, what's next? Oh, a good one. The highest ranking anime song of this list. The ending theme to Girls' Last Tour. These are just the characters. The version of this song that I legally acquired had the artist tags as Chito and Yuri, which are just the names of the characters. I don't know what their VAs are, but it's really the VAs singing and then some godly production company, I don't even know who, putting together the production and such, which is fantastic. Just really genius chord progressions and fun and this like really upbeat kind of poppy attitude, which is exactly what you want from an anime song, something that will kind of get into your head and make you keep thinking about the show so that you can buy merchandise at any and all times. So in many ways, it's kind of like a standard anime song in these regards. And little like Denpa-y tricks of having the characters kind of like interject on each other and do little like ad-lib type things between lines of the chorus are like classic and just really, really well done here. But what makes this song so great for me is the attitude of the lyrics and of the meaning and of its context within the show. So the show, if you don't know, it's about these two girls, Chito and Yuri, living in kind of like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and just kind of slowly putzing about, trying to find food and shelter and not really understanding their situation at all or understanding many of the things they encounter. And quite a few times in the show, they kind of address this question of like, okay, but like, what are we doing? Like, what is kind of the point of us going out and finding food and continuing to live if it's just going to be like more and more and more of the same stuff? And this song doesn't really address it as much as it shows this kind of underlying, almost manic energy, where they're just like, well, we'll just do it for one more night, one more night, one more night, one more night, one more night. Or say more one night, more one night, more one. It's a little grammatically off, but whatever. um, and the verses and stuff where they're doing like, let's make something, what can we make, I don't know, let's begin something, what will we begin, I don't know, let's just dance, why, just dance. And it's this feeling of like total abandonment where kind of the denpa energy, which is what we're looking for in pretty much all of these sort of anime songs, is kind of recontextualized, so that it's not so much about, I don't know, like losing your mind under regular circumstances, but the feeling that losing your mind is really the only thing keeping you going, which is a pretty crazy idea. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, this is another double feature because it's my list and I'm allowed to cheat like that if I want. This one is like maybe even more dubious because this was on a mixtape, You Will Regret, and this was just released as a single, I think because of like sampling issues. But to me, in my mind, they go so well together back to back that, if he was allowed to, they would probably be back to back on the mixtape, and then it would be a little more justifiable to count them as one song. But I listened to them back to back to back a lot. I only kind of got into Ski Mask near the end of last year. I had heard of him before, and I had heard him featured on a few tracks, and I was pretty impressed. But like, I just didn't seek these out. It's just so hard to keep up with rappers these days. There's just so many, and I have to go work a job. But I'm so glad that I finally got into him. Of the kind of SoundCloud, the latest SoundCloud generation of rappers, feels like he's the one putting in the most work. And as I said before, a lot of rap is about making it seem easy, and this is like really pushing the limit of actually how intense and serious you can be about your lyrics, while still able to capture it as like total effortlessness. And because I'm like a goofy white kid, I can't help myself, and I'm always trying to like rap along to what I'm listening to, and it is hard. He goes really hard on these tracks, and I swear he's like cheating. It's like syllable cheating. And I remember thinking about this about Young Thug, like back in the day, that he was doing things that on paper just didn't make sense. That if you like count up the syllables and look at the beat, it just it defies reason that he's able to rap like that. And this gives me the same feeling. Like I don't think I've been as excited about just the sheer timing of flows as I have been since I was first getting into Young Thug. Both of these have hooks that are like perfectly exemplifiable of that. The how is he feeling, bro? Feel like the four. I feel fantastic. Which one should you be though? Mr. Fantastic is the money like elastic. Just this like explosiveness of syllables, and then a total stop, and then picks it up again, and like that really kind of it defies all logic, and it makes no sense. And then the opening lines of Catch Me Outside, the Naruto nine-tailed fox fur coat. I feel electric Gucci ad lib burr. Like it makes no sense. But I can't stop thinking about it. It feels like every time I try to listen to the song or even just remember the lyrics in my head, I'm getting closer to somehow like, oh, okay, that's how he does it. But it never actually comes. And the hook on that too, Bill is on me blue, like a Bruce, better yet, Blues Clues, Bill is on me blue, Bruce. Like I don't know, it's just who is able to rap like this? Only him, only him. It's godlike. Okay, next. Ooh, oh, fantastic Frank Ocean song. We have not seen the last of Frank Ocean. Um, every single he put out this year was fantastic. This one with features from Jay-Z and Tyler is much more kind of on the hip hop side of things. Jay-Z does kind of his elder statesman routine where it almost seems just like he's like, I don't really need to do the verse. I can just kind of do like the warm up prelude to the verse and it's fine. And a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually love that he's kind of imparting his legendary status in this form now, where it's almost like just the legend and not actually the rapping. But he has a couple of good jokes about biking, and then Tyler's verse is fantastic. Just absolute prime Tyler with the density of the wordplay and like that rough and rugged flow of this super bass voice. Um, and, for a song with Frank Ocean and Tyler both on it, does it lend credence to the theory that the hidden message is that it's not just about biking, even though pretty much every line in the song is about biking, but it's by king, like bisexual king. Oh my god, that's genius! I don't actually know if that's true, um, but yeah, and Frank's verse, he loses it. Like at the end, he goes crazy, and at first he's in that like kind of gentle melodic space that we know him. I'm such a tea like I never right to the bleed, and then in the end he's brought back the same melodic themes, but he's just like I don't know how to describe the sounds he's making over it, but it's a total wild, just embracing of total emotional release, and it's so enthralling. Cannot get enough of it. Excuse me. Next we have. I love this song. Oh, I love this song so much. This is. I think this ended up being on a Juicy J mixtape, but this was released as a single. It has this beat. It's like a piano-based beat, just kind of a nice, simple chord progression. But the way the beat and the song interacts gives it the most solid feeling of like instant classic status I've heard. I don't know how to put it. It feels like the beat was created just to kind of honor and highlight the flows of the rappers, which is actually the case. But then at the same time, it's just so well suited that it feels like the rappers have chosen this like classic beat and rapped and written these verses specifically around the beat. Do you know what I mean? Like they both seem to happen simultaneously in this wonderful causality defying moment where I don't know, it feels like familiar before you've even heard it. It's so good. And the hook too is just this like really straightforward um, I don't know how to describe it. It's one of those that you're just like, how has this not been done before? How did no one think to write a hook like this? And then Offset's verse, oh my God, like again, this sort of feeling of working with a classic. He just explodes off of it. Offset, I think, has got to be my rapper of the year between Culture and Without Warning and all of these songs on here that have featured Offset. Like he just went crazy this year. Um, and there's like the part where plug came through at the right time, dough came in at the right time. He's kind of like riffing off the hook in the song as if it was this like classic hook that everyone has known for years, and he's kind of just like vibing with it as if he's like paying homage to it, but it's the same song. And the piano going over that too. Oh my God, I just can't get over it. I want to listen to it right now, but I gotta finish making this stupid video. It's so good. Okay, okay. What's next? What's next? Oh, another banger. So LCD Sound System, after a like 7 year hiatus, released their first new album, American Dream. I liked it okay. I don't know. Whenever musicians take a long hiatus and I start kind of listening to different stuff, and then they come back, and it's like I feel like I ought to just kind of revert to who I was emotionally when their previous stuff came out in order to like receive this new stuff, and it's not always easy. Anyway, all of this is to say that I just didn't get into the new album as much as I kind of hoped I would. But there's one song really, really hit me, the title track, which was released as a single like a month or so beforehand, and got me like really back into LCD Sound System in general for a bit. By the time the album came out, it kind of waned a bit. But this single still really affects me. Um, it the beat, like the production, has this kind of underlying energy to it. Where the best way I can describe it is that whenever I listen to it, I want to like drum along with it. So the main melody is dun 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 dun, dun, but I want to go like dun. I want to like find all of these like little hidden beats and notes and stuff in it. Like it, for some reason, it feels like it contains all of that. That it contains underlying substructures of beats and stuff in it, and it really really excites me. And it creates this like simultaneously very serene in what you're hearing tonal space, but then in your mind there's kind of this like nervous energy underlying it, and it sets the stage perfectly for the story he tells, which is kind of your classic LCD Sound System. I can't really make a genuine connection with people. I'm kind of taking drugs for the fun of it. I end up at these parties, but I'm not too happy. Um, you know, you're wishing for your fated encounter with your one true lover, but at the same time, you're just kind of having this emotionless sex with someone. Just this kind of like feeling like you're at the very edge of the party culture, that you're just one revelation away from abandoning everything about your lifestyle. Which the fact that James Murphy has been making music that kind of tells that story for like 17 years makes you wonder, like, wouldn't he have quit at some point by now? But I don't know. I don't think he actually has to like live it to sing about it. At any rate, and then from this, when he starts singing the title, and you realize like not that just this is like a personal story of this one subculture, not that it's just his personal story, but that there is something said about the American dream in this, of this kind of fundamental discontentment where everyone feels like they're a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. And if not a millionaire, then at least they're just in the prelude to their wonderful whirlwind romance. They're in the prelude to a life of contentment and artistic mastery and like anything, any dream you can pick. I think this perfectly encapsulates the state of being right on that teetering point of like not having anything else but your belief in it, and also realizing that your belief in it might be fundamentally misguided. Now that's bleak. um, but like from that really teetering perspective, he just lets out this beautiful falsetto American Dream. Oh my God, it really touches me, because he's taking this moment and he's not wallowing in the despair of it, but he's stepped back to this kind of cosmic perspective where he's just like, well, that's that's what we're dealing with, and it's very very beautiful. Okay, next we have now a little Uzi Vert banger. He's also been all over this list. Definitely like top 3 rappers of the year, I guess. This one is another really emotional song. A little different than EXO Tour Life, whereas that one was kind of all about really hitting that cozy, despairing space, where you've bubbled up your emotions and chunked them down. I was talking about this in the last video, if that doesn't make any sense to you. Maybe it still won't make sense, but at least you know that I'm referring to that. In this one, it's like he's just been broken up with, and at the beginning of the song, he's like kind of trying to rap like normal, and he does this good little verse. My Louboutins new, so my bottom day is redder. No, I'm not a rat, but I'm all about my cheddar. You know, it's kind of like this nice, bubbly flow. And then near the end of it, it starts kind of breaking down, and you realize, like, this isn't a happy story. This is like him trying to convince he's happy. And then, in one of my favorite musical moments of the whole year, is I've been listening to this song, it goes like, and then he starts singing this song by Oh Wonder called Landslide, which is really heavily sampled for the beat. And he sings the chorus, I know it hurts sometimes, but you'll get over it. You'll find another life to live. I swear that you'll get over it. It's really, really beautiful and touching. And it's like one of my favorite integrations of this sort of heavy major sample in hip hop, where the artist is singing it, and not just that he's singing it, but he says, I've been listening to this song. And you know that it's real. Like, you really feel like when he was all sad about breaking up, feeling lonely, that he was actually just listening to the song over and over again. And he wanted to share that experience at the most visceral level into this music. And then, like, all of the verses and stuff that follow hit this really rare spot of vulnerability in rap music where he's still trying to put forth this persona, and he's like kind of dissing his girlfriend's new guy, but at the same time he's like acknowledging like, well, what can I do, she's like gone. And then he keeps kind of returning to this, I know it hurts sometimes, but you'll get over it. And you really feel like you're hearing someone trying to encourage themselves in this really deep dark place. And it's a really unique, really lovely, addictive song. Anti shoutouts though to the Nicki Minaj version. I was so excited when she announced that she wanted to remake it. Cause you know, like Nicki sometimes gets on like really emotional stuff, like kind of sentimental, and I was like, yeah, yeah, she's gonna know what the song is about. Like she's gonna, but nah, it's just the same. She really phoned it in. I almost feel like the wrong verse got shipped to this song, and that was supposed to be like her verse on some Migos track or something. Oh, well. The original, though. The original really holds up. Okay, next we have ah, Young Thug's "Family Don't Matter." This was this was a strange one. Okay, so Thugger announced that he was doing this album, Beautiful Thugger Girls, and sources close to him were talking about how it was like a country album and it had like acoustic guitar and stuff and it was like cowboys and no one had any idea of what to make of that. I don't think anyone actually predicted that it was accurate or that it was even this accurate. And like Young Thug was like riding a horse around at times and stuff. And so this song, the opening track, it's right there. It starts with kind of normal rapping, but the beat is like kind of playing backwards and swirling around, and then it really beautifully kind of emerges into this twang. And I remember like the first time I was hearing it, having heard that like no, it actually is like a country album, and bracing for it, anticipating the yeehaw. And anticipating him kind of work into this like southern drawl. Oh my god, it just completely creates and redeems the entire genre of country in my mind. And all the memes around it too of people hearing the yeehaw and then immediately like getting cowboy hats or getting on horses and stuff is so great to me. Thugger like inventing country and like Johnny Cash talking about how big Young Thug was an inspiration to him. It's all hilarious. All just but the song itself I think is so good, especially the Millie Golightly feature, who sounds like she's actually just fresh out of kind of like a beautiful alt country like Gillian Welch type band. But here is singing along with Young Thug's rapping in a way that has kind of like a depth of song quality and almost like a cinematic song quality that we don't usually get from Young Thug, and we don't usually get from much of like kind of the current Atlanta scene, which is like very, very. Actually, this song has it too, though. But usually Atlanta hip hop, and this is something I love about it, is very much focused on like purity of like it's just a beat and rapping. You don't get any more than that. Maybe like us, somebody sings on the hook, but that's about it. Whereas here, like it's traces of Kanye, like it's traces of um, providing the only word I can think of is like cinematic, like a cinematic experience. But yeah, at the end when they're you've been blowing smoke clouds shaped like me. I've been having nightmares. I think I said that backwards, but and they're kind of like trading verses and stuff, and I don't know. It's beautiful. It's so much more beautiful than any of the memes where the on paper description would suggest. Um, yeah, I don't know. Really, really worth checking out for sure. Next we have Chanel. Brand new Chanel's. Ask me to run Chanel. No, 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 no. The big first Frank Ocean single of the year. One that people were freaking out about through the entire year. I don't think anyone was able to really get over the song in any of the months since it dropped. Um, I think it's a masterpiece of bisexuality, which is not there's not many of those. Bisexuality, I think, is very much neglected in media representation. In that, I've talked about this before on like Yuri videos and stuff. That uh, for media narratives and for like kind of telling a story, people want to like resolve sexuality in the way that they resolve like other character traits. And bisexuality seems to suggest like indecision. Um, and it's rare that people embrace it as an actual identity and as a place of artistic creation and expression. But here he does it in the very first lines. My guy pretty like a girl, and he got fight stories to tell. I see on both sides like Chanel. See on both sides like Chanel. Now that's kind of a cheesy line because you know the Chanel logo has two C's going on opposite sides. But the the attitude it reflects, this duality present throughout the entire song, and not like struggling to resolve the duality, but in the immortal words of Tyler, embracing the fact that you are a walking paradox. Um, I just think is so beautiful and inspirational. And the song itself is so gorgeous, really brilliantly structured with kind of more traditional verses, and then at a certain point he just breaks into his completely sublime angelic falsetto, and seems to just kind of almost like prophesize about these icons of duality, and is oh man, I can't think of many songs that are a better encapsulation of a musician's talent and all the things he's capable of than Frank Ocean on Chanel. Oh, so good. Is there anything else I want to say about it? I don't know. It's got some tight Gucci Aces on in the cover. uh, Next, we've got World Ends Girlfriend, another song from the Last Waltz remix compilation. This is Plien Sol Il, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is the second track on the original, turned into the first track of the remix album. And the remix is done by Matryoshka, one of my all-time favorite artists, label mate of World's End Girlfriend. They've remixed each other's work quite a bit in the past. Here, it's like I said before, this remix album was strange because of like the almost inherent, already remixed quality of World's End Girlfriend's music. But Matryoshka, like really wisely, I think, went in the opposite direction and delivered this very haunting and beautiful, stripped down, minimal encapsulation of the original song, where it's like kind of the same melody and the same kind of vocal progression, same instrumentation, but wait, what else could be different? Well, it's a subset of the original instrumentation. I guess that's what I'm going for. Um, and really, that's all I need, is the absolute minimals from Matryoshka, because what I really love about them as an artist is their kind of raw sound. Like Kalu's voice is, I think, my favorite voice in music. Just that kind of small, vulnerable, but kind of infinite quality to it, that she's tapping into something extremely huge when she sings. That combined with Sen's piano tone and string tones and such, like the way he produces those sounds, which I think are just my favorite treatment of those instruments in music. Again, this sounds like hyperbole, but it really is one of my favorite artists. I don't need anything more. If you just have those elements conveying a beautiful melody, which is what you get here, that's more than enough. So, fantastic. All right, number one. What do you think it is? Uh, it's an artist that we've seen 3 times on this list already. It's not Offset. I think Offset we've seen more than 3 times on this list already. It's not Young Thug. It's another Frank Ocean song. Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't even do the thing. I guess I got lazy. I didn't. The other ones I did a thing. This one I didn't, but whatever. There's the hour. It's Frank Ocean, Provider. I never noticed before that like the album art is like a screen cap and the cursor is on the screen cap or something. It doesn't matter. This is a absolutely fantastic, gorgeous, beautiful song. I just all I want to do some days is just sit there and listen to it over and over and over again while like reading Yuri manga or something. So last year he released Blonde, which is fantastic. If I had not been lazy and actually made a best albums of 2016 year list, it would have been very high up there. Um, and I think what I loved most about it is that he has this very rare, very unique lifestyle, and all of these diverse artistic interests, and As a result, he has these very complex emotional states, and yet he is able to convey them so meaningfully and beautifully that you can't help but feel like I must be feeling the exact same way that Frank felt when he wrote this. Like you really feel like that. And there, as I said, they're very complicated emotional states, but on Provider, it's just love. It's just the feeling of him being in love, and then when you listen to it, you feel like you're in love too. It's so good. Like, how does that work? Let me think about it. I think a big part of it is just kind of his casual collection of references and stuff. Like on this, he references Dragon Ball. Are you a natural blondie like Goku? He references Stanley Kubrick, the moonwalking R.I.P. Stanley Kubrick. He references Talking Heads at one point, the Aphex Twin, Jaws. It's so, and it doesn't feel like he's necessarily saying these are the biggest, most important things in my life, but that you're getting a completely accurate distillation of kind of all of the media that's like swirling around in his head as he thinks about this guy that he loves. Um, when he talks about I don't know the hook feelings you provide. Ah, like the 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 fact that he's kind of breaking down. It's not about the lifestyle. It's not about the look. It's not about the image. It's not about the representation. It's about the feelings. It's the feelings that you provide. Feelings you provide. Feelings you provide. I know. I know. Oh, oh, it's so good. And the tonight I might change my life. Oh, like that sentiment that you really believe that you've met someone who's so important to you, that the feelings they provide to you are so wonderful that like tonight you're gonna change your life for that. You're gonna do whatever it takes to persist in getting that. I don't think I've ever felt like that. I don't know if that's something that most people ever feel. That's a pretty powerful feeling. But when I listen to this song, I believe it exists for someone. I believe that he really felt like that when he was writing it. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say. It's my number one song this year. It was great. Check it out. I'll use a little heart. It was cute. And here they are again. Good. Good list. Good year for music. Check them out. If I'm not lazy, I'll have put links in the description below for your listening convenience. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if there's songs that you really liked that you think I might like based on these, or just based on anything. I'm really open to any sort of music. And let's look forward to getting into the music of 2018. Yay!